Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Shikha, and in this video I'll continue with the topic that I left in my last video, which is Victorian age. In my last video I've covered many things like how Victorian age started and how this industrial revolution came into existence and what were the impacts of it and what were the condition of Victorian women at that time, and how all these poor people were affected by this industrial revolution and all the scientific discoveries that had been done in that period. But in this period I'll discuss like what were the impacts of those revolutions or those things on Victorian novels. Okay, so let's begin with the lecture. Before moving further into the characteristics of Victorian novels, I would like to discuss few terms with you first. First is Victorian compromise. It is an expression which has been given by G.K. Chesterton. It is the important thing to keep in your mind. And if I make you understand this Victorian compromise in simple term, I would say that Victorian compromise was the compromise that had been done by Victorian population in that period. I told you this even in my last video that when industrial revolution came into existence, there were prosperity, no doubt, people were growing and there were development, but on other side there was many disadvantages as well that came with industrial revolution, that child labor came into existence and people began to suffer because they had to work with heavy machineries, and some of them even many of them had to lost their lives under heavy machineries. So this is what my first point also says. The Victorian compromise refers to the contradiction between the progress brought on by the industrial revolution and the poverty, disease and suffering felt by the working class as a result of this progress. While the middle and upper class enjoyed advancements in wealth and quality of life and reaped the benefits of an expanding empire, the working class suffered greatly. Forced into close, overcrowded rooms and poor living conditions, workers were often at the mercy of their dangerous jobs in textile mills, mines or railways. Mortality rates were high and child labor was a common killer along with disease. So these are the 2 points that I have just discussed or I have just explained to you in simple terms. The next, it says the outward strictness of Victorian morals and behavior was really inconsistent with what was actually happening in society. In fact, as a rule, the values they promoted reflected not the world as they saw it, but as they would have liked it to be. So what this line means is that Victorians were promoting values that were actually not true, but they wanted them to be true, or they were made to believe that these are the things that is for your benefit only. If I give you the example of all the governments that have ruled till now in India, be it like BJP or Congress, what do is, you know that very well, they would claim that we are doing things for your betterment only. You would get benefited by these things that we are doing, but that is not actually true. They are hardly bothered about us. They would do only those things from that they would get benefited. So it was the Victorian compromise that even though people were suffering there, but they were compromising or they were trying to believe that it was for their own benefit only, whatever the government was doing at that time. So there is one question that has been asked from this particular topic, which is Victorian compromise is an expression first used by. It was first used by G.K. Chesterton. So B is the right answer. Another term I would like to discuss with you is condition of England novels. So the term condition of England novels refers to a body of narrative fiction, also known as industrial novels, social novels or social problem novels, published in Victorian England during and after the period of Hungry 40s. So what is this Hungry 40s? It was a period of early 1840s, when British experienced an economic depression, okay, because of the poverty that came with that industrial revolution. So condition of England novels were the novels which used to portray social conditions of Victorian England of that time. This term relates directly to the famous condition of England question, which was raised by Thomas Carlyle in Chartism. Okay, and what is this Chartism? I would like to discuss this term in my next slide, so let's skip it here. Condition of England novels sought to engage directly with the contemporary social and political issues with a focus on the representation of class, gender, and labor relations, as well as on the social unrest and the growing conflict between the rich and the poor in England. So this is the same thing that they used to portray the conflicts between the rich and poor. They used to portray all other social issues of like class, gender, and other things in their novels. Condition of England novels are called both for social reform and a reconciliation between two groups, the rich and the poor. These are some of the examples which comes under this term of condition of England novels. These are Elizabeth Gaskell's North and South and Charles Dickens' Hard Times. If you remember, Charles Dickens' Hard Times portrays the same thing. It reflects the condition of poor people, like they have been suppressed by wealthy class people. So there's also a question which is asked from this particular topic, which is the condition of England literature refers to. There are four options: the literature written by the labor class, the literature of England extolling living conditions, the literature of England depicting the vulnerability of labor class, and the literature of England depicting the imperial projects abroad. So what do you think is the right answer? I guess third is the right answer according to it. C, the literature of England depicting the vulnerability of labor class. The next term is Chartism that I've just mentioned in my previous slide. Chartism was a working class movement which emerged in 1836, and it was active mostly between 1838 to 1848. The aim of Chartists was basically to gain political rights and influence for the working class. This movement was basically for the working class because they were underprivileged, they didn't have any rights, so they came up with this Chartism. And the Chartism got its name from People's Charter that listed the 6 main aims of the movement. So what are these 6 aims? First one is universal manhood suffrage. Suffrage means right to vote. So the men who were over 21 of age, they all got right to vote. Next is equal electoral districts. Like they would provide every district a representative who would fight in elections. The next one is vote by secret ballot, annually elected parliaments, and payment for MPs, like member of parliaments, no property qualifications to become an MP. Okay, so these were the 6 main aims of the movement. There is one question that has been asked from this Chartism. The question is, Chartism, a political movement that took its name from the People's Charter, had 6 points. Identify the one point on the following list that was not Chartist. So these are the points. Just read it fast and think what can the answer be. So C is the right answer in it. Comprehensive insurance scheme for labor. This point was not mentioned there in those 6 aims of the movement. Now let's look at some characteristics of Victorian literature or Victorian novels that developed in that period. In Victorian age, the novel as a genre rose to entertain the rising middle class and to depict the contemporary life in that changing society. So novel was considered as a medium, or it was a medium to entertain the rising middle class. Although the novel had been in development since the 18th century, like we know that there were many novelists like Daniel Defoe and Henry Fielding, Laura Stern, Samuel Richardson. They were novelists and they used to write novels, but there was not much acceptance in that period. But in Victorian age, it was the period that the novel got mass acceptance and readership, because people in that period began to educate themselves in order to get their jobs, and so they also developed their interest in readings and in novels. So that was the reason novels began to rise in Victorian age. The growth of cities, a ready domestic market, and one in the overseas colonies, and an increase in printing and publishing house facilitated the growth of the novel as a form. So this is the same thing that I've just explained. In the year 1870, an Education Act was passed which made education an easy access to the masses, furthermore increasing literacy rates among the population. Certain jobs required a certain level of reading ability, and simple novels catered to this by becoming a device to practice reading. So this Education Act was passed in 1870. After that, most of the population of Victoria, they began to educate themselves. So literacy rate also increased among the Victorian population. So till now what we have observed is it was all men of Victorian age who were getting privileges. There was male suffrage, men began to vote, they were getting their rights and they began to educate themselves. But what about women? How these women novelists that we know now, George Eliot, Bronte's sister, Elizabeth Gaskell, how they came into existence? Because Victorian age was the time when there were roles that have been prescribed for both male and female members of the society. The role of women was mostly that of like angels of the house, that Virginia Woolf describes later in her work. The role of women was mostly that of being angels, and they were restricted to domestic confines. Like professionally also they had few options. They could either become a governess or a teacher in rich households. So they were kind of financially dependent on their husbands or on their fathers. But later, when men began to go outside for their work, women developed their interest in reading, and as a result they begin to write or they begin to educate themselves. New roles for women were created because of the resultant economic market, and their voice, which was earlier not given cadence, was now being spotted and recognized, and novels became the means where the domestic confinement of women was questioned. So now even women began to write because they had all alone time for themselves. So they began to write about their own plights and their roles in their households, and how they are bound to do certain things by their own men, how they are controlled by their own men. So novels of Victorian age also reflected the larger questions that surrounds women, like those of their roles and duties. So Victorian age novels was mainly about the roles and duties that are surrounded by women. In the later half of the century, Married Women's Property Acts was passed. The women's suffrage became an important point of debate, and poverty and other economic reasons challenged the traditional roles for women. Though the novel as a form became the medium where such concerns were raised. So this is the same thing that I have just explained, that women begin to write and they begin to write about their own plights. Here one thing we need to observe is that even though women were writing at this age, but they were quite hesitant in revealing their identity in front of the population, because if you consider George Eliot and one or two other writers, they were using pseudonyms for their works. They were not revealing their identities. It was all about the Victorian novels and the condition under which they were written. Now at the end, let's have an overview of entire Victorian age. It's being divided into three main phases. The first one is the early phase, which revolves around 1837 to 1848, and it's there are many important events that occurred within this phase. During this phase, there were Chartist movement and even the repeal of the Corn Law, which was passed in 1846. This period also saw large-scale expansion of railways, and literature of this period focused on the concerns of new emerging middle and working class. So J.S. Mill and Thomas Carlyle are the writers that belong to this age. Even that Condition of England novels belong to this age, because it used to portray the conflicts between middle and working class. Okay. The next one is the middle phase. It lies between 1848 to 1870. It was the phase of economic prosperity and colonial expansion. Okay, it was the period when Victorian period began to colonize other countries, and this phase witnessed the great exhibition of 1851. It was the first international exhibition of manufactured products. This phase also saw the appearance of scientific works such as Charles Darwin's, which challenged long-held religious assumptions, and Charles Dickens and George Eliot are the writers that belong to this period. So these are the writers you must know that they used to portray the social conditions of that period. Like George Eliot used to portray the social evils of the society that was prevalent in that period. Okay. At last, there was this third phase. It was a period of skepticism when people began to question Britain's empire building activities, and literature of this period was marked by a decadent movement. It was the movement which aspired to set literature and art free from materialistic preoccupations of industrialized society. Earlier I told you that Victorian people, they began to write and they used to show their power through either through exhibitions or through their works. So what this decadent movement says, that at least art should be free from these things, and it should only for the purpose of entertaining people without having any intention behind it. Writers associated with the movement were Oscar Wilde, Arthur Symons, and Ernest Dawson. These writers were influenced by French literature, and even they started following the expressions which was more prevalent at that time in France, which was art for art's sake. It was the same movement which says that there shouldn't be any moral purpose, or there shouldn't be any intentions behind writing those novels. The whole purpose of writing novels should be of entertaining people. So now at the end, let's solve some previous year questions that are associated with the topic Victorian age. And the questions are, the first question is, which one of the following best describes the general feeling expressed in literature during the last decade of the Victorian era? There are four options: studied melancholy and aestheticism, the triumph of science and morbidity, sincere earnestness and protest zeal, raucous celebration combined with paranoid interpretations. So, which you think is the right answer? The first one is the right answer. They studied melancholy and aestheticism. I told you that there were this third phase where they began movements like decadent movement. Okay, let's move to the next question. Which of the following is not a characteristic of the Victorian age? The first option is the rise of a highly competitive industrial technology. Yeah, it's true. An emphasis on strictly controlled social behavior. Yeah, that is also true. A romantic focus on home and family. True. The growth of rural tradition and movement from larger cities. That is wrong. So the fourth is the right answer. So that's it for this video. We'll meet in the next one with another important topic. So bye bye till then. Take care. Stay tuned. And please don't forget to subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon if you want notifications for the rest of my videos. So bye bye. Take care.